Located at 30 Evergreen Street, the Kingston Council on Aging is a vibrant hub for social interactions and support services for our elder population. Under the direction of today's guest, Paula Rossi-Clapp, nearly 1,100 seniors from Kingston and the surrounding communities utilize the COA each year for health and wellness services, home-cooked meals with friends, educational programming, bingo, day trips, and the list goes on. Whether you're a current COA user or have never stepped foot in the building, I hope you'll find today's program informative. Paula, thank you for joining us today. It's been some time that I've been trying to get you on. I know you've been very busy over at the Council on Aging, so I do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us.
Thank you for having me, Josh. This is a great opportunity to talk about the center.
Fantastic. So for anybody who's watching, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what brought you to Kingston, and what you were doing before you were our director?
Sure. This is actually my second act for my career. When my children ended up in college, I took a look at my business and I reassessed what I wanted to do, and I decided to go back to college and pursue my degree, and it turned into health studies, and the concentration ended up being in the senior population. So it brought me to the senior center concentration. I was working in the Acushnet, town of Acushnet, prior to Kingston, what brings me to Kingston is about 7 or 8 years ago, my sister and I did genealogy, and we were looking at my father's side, and it turns out that my ancestors came over and landed in Kingston and Plymouth. And I had no idea. For the past 30 years, I'd been driving by my great-great-grandmother's house, and the homes still stand here in Kingston today, and the cemeteries where they're buried, and that fascinated me. So when I was in Acushnet, when the opportunity came up for Kingston, it was unexpected, and I just jumped at it. And when I came in, it was like I was home. So it's a very comfortable place for me. And it's easy for me to care for the senior population because I feel like it's my second family.
Well, I know it's a little delayed, but welcome back
I know.
Welcome back to Kingston.
I know.
So what does a typical day look like for the Director of Elder Affairs at the Kingston Council on Aging? So
as the director, I come in there on a daily basis with a game plan, and usually I get diverted, but it's I'm always moving. I'm always interacting with the seniors and my staff and the different town departments on a daily basis. So it's never boring, never dull, and at the end of the week I do look back and reflect and say, wow, we've moved another step forward, so that's really good. So, and I love that part of the job because no 2 days are alike. So.
Now, does that make the time fly by, or?
It does. I'm shocked, and I work really hard to keep a healthy balance for myself too. And a lot of times it's just you work through lunch and you forget, oh gee, I haven't drank my water or eaten my lunch, and it's important for the staff to keep themselves healthy as well. So. I'm trying to lead by example, but the day can fly, and sometimes you forget to do the things that are important for you too. Yeah. But that place is just, it's fantastic. It's so busy. We do have our pockets, don't get me wrong, we do have our pockets of lulls later in the afternoon, but that's usually when the staff can concentrate a little more on paperwork. But for the moment you hit the ground in the morning when the center is open until a good 3 o'clock in the afternoon, unless there's a big event, it's very busy. Yeah. Very busy. So.
And typically, over the course of a year, how many individuals do you serve?
So we're over 1,000 that we will take care of in our system. Anywhere from outreach phone calls, it may be the Meals on Wheels to homebound seniors, but we have over 100 people that come through the door every single day. So we are taking care of anything from applications to housing questions to signing people up for the right activities that fit their lifestyle. So it's a constant. So
that's great. And I know, having been there for a few lunches, it's not just Kingston residents who are served by the Council on Aging. And I thought it was certainly a testament to the programs, to the staff, to the volunteers. that Kingston is a location where surrounding communities, seniors are coming and they're taking advantage of the services and the programs that you offer.
That's right, and we have our own little niche in Kingston. Each senior center is slightly different, so all seniors are welcome. We are concentrating our marketing and media to get out to the Kingston population to let them know, hey, we're here. Here's how we can serve you. But we are welcoming to other communities that maybe they don't do this certain exercise program that we offer, or a certain meal or something that they can come in and enjoy. And we're at very little to no cost for that, and yes, so we do service, and it is interesting because we get those different comments about how this is a cozy center and it's welcoming, and they come in here and they feel like that they've met their best friends, and they just keep coming back, so it's great.
That's great. And I know looking at the service numbers from 2019, there's a very small number of males who use the center. It was like 25% or so of the COA users were male. What have you done to try to boost usership of that population?
Right. So the male population is always a challenge for senior centers, and all directors. I'm always talking with other town directors. How they solve that quandary of getting the male population into the center. And for us, we started to find different programs that would be of interest, and we did increase our numbers from FY18 to FY19 by bringing a metal detecting group, a drone class. We have drone classes happening, and camera classes, cornhole tournaments bring out, and we're going to start the ping pong again. We're starting to see the male population more interested to come in because it's not just sitting and playing cards. They're more active things to do. The metal detecting group, I'm particularly proud of because it's a hobby that I had, and whenever I would seek out groups, it seemed to be, there were no females, there were males, and so now we're creating the metal detecting group here. The males instantly started, but now the females are starting to come in, and we're getting a blend there, so that's great. The drone classes, which are for anyone, but the males seem to be drawn to the drone classes, which I find fascinating too. But we'll be advertising and promoting that more to let people know. So
that's great, and just an opportunity to plug services at another Kingston institution. I know the Kingston Public Library recently acquired a metal detector that residents, or really anybody with a library card in the network, can go and borrow. So
that's neat.
If there are Council on Aging users who did find that they had a desire to do more metal detecting, there's always the opportunity for them to borrow one from the Kingston Public Library.
That's right. And just to let you know, we do detect the beaches, but if somebody has a piece of jewelry perhaps they lost in their yard, we would be more than welcome to come out and find it for them. Some historical homes will go out and we'll detect their property, but we give them what we find because we're more about the thrill of the hunt and just finding something that no one knew that was there. So
really cool.
Yeah.
And again, having spent a little bit of time at the Council on Aging, I had lunch with a few women who had gone on a tour of a Budweiser brewery,
Yes.
and one, that wasn't the typical trip that I thought that a Council on Aging would do, but two, they were thrilled. They talked about the tour, they talked about the samples, and it seemed like this great adventure. What other trips have you guys organized?
So the COA alone doesn't organize it, but we are kind of how do I want to say it, a venue for promotion of that. We have a wonderful Kingston senior, Joyce Garrity, who does run the program, and she takes these, she organizes the trips, and oh my gosh, she's full buses every time, and she's very creative with where she takes people. So the list, I think I had given you some of the places that she had gone. That Budweiser trip was very popular.
There were some concerts, impersonations.
Absolutely, yeah, the impersonators were really fun. And now she's doing the Boston Pops trip,
oh, wonderful.
and something for New Year's too. So there's still seats available for the December trip and the December 31st trip. So just call the center, we'll give you the information. And yes, it's just an extended arm of what the COA can do. That's part of us partnering with other departments, the library, the rec department. I came into an already established, well-supported town in Kingston, and that's what I tell people all the time is Kingston is very lucky. The residents understand the need for the senior population. Sometimes towns are not there yet. So when I was lucky enough to get into a center that was, it'll be 10 years, I believe, February of 2021. And just that support alone in the population means the world, because we're just able to also reach out into the community and connect with businesses and other departments that understand the seniors are important.
And let's just spend a little time talking about those relationships and the partnerships, because I know the police have come in, the fire departments come in, the town administrators come in. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those guest speakers that have come in for either educational programming, health programming?
That's been fantastic. The police and the fire are instrumental with coming in and helping out with some of the meals that are. So the Friends of the COA are a wonderful group, non-profit fundraising organization for us. So they put on these lunches, and they'll the police and the fire will volunteer their time to come and serve the meals. It's a great showing. That actually, we started a police liaison program, and we have a police officer that is involved with coming to the center to help out with the latest scams, spreading the education to the seniors of what's going on. That's been wonderful. The conservation department came over and they educated us on vernal pools, because we're surrounded by vernal pools and the importance of that in the community. We had Tom Coulter come over there to talk about the town meeting and what to expect. It's just been a great, we have the assessor's office that's coming in January to help talk about the different tax breaks for seniors. It's been a great, I go and I ask a department, will you help, will you do something? The first answer is yes. When can I help, what can I do? So it's fantastic. So
that's great, and it's certainly not unique to the COA. I find that there's this interdepartmental relationships that have existed or are being formed, and it's nice to see everybody helping one another out.
Yes.
I also know when the fire department came, they were able to give out some backpack kits for COA users. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So we partnered up. It was the health department, the health agent, and the fire department, and the Massachusetts for Disabilities. And they came and they did a presentation and provided everyone with we had, I think, over 60. It was anywhere from 60 to 65 backpacks that we were able to give out to the community free for emergencies, how to shelter in place and be okay for 48 hours. It had water. It had a wind-up radio. It was $50 of products that people could just keep in their home and stash away in case they do lose the power and they have to wait a little while to be able to get out. And that was fantastic. And that was a partnership. We partner with the library and the rec department and put on intergenerational programs. And the library hosts a Pazingo, so it's a pizza bingo program that parents and grandparents can come with the children, and that's a great event to have over at the COA. But each building is, the library, the rec, and the COA are unique in their, and so we can work with each other and provide the entire community, no matter what your age is, something to do. So we're all kind of a community center now. So
that's great. And one of the things that I'm always impressed by is when you go into the COA, there's volunteers everywhere. There's volunteers at the door. There's volunteers in the kitchen. There's volunteers serving.
Yes.
There's volunteers calling the numbers at bingo.
Yes.
How important are volunteers to your work?
They are extremely important, because even if you can just volunteer a day or a few hours, or you want to be regular, we can use your services. The talents that people bring, they'll come and they'll teach a class, well, the camera class. That's a talent from somebody that knows everything to do about cameras. We have the crafting classes. We have the, like we said, we're in desperate need of services for help with the lunches and the meals. We have a part-time cook that puts on a weekly banquet to serve anywhere from 60 to 85 people. That's amazing, but it takes her small core group of 4 or 5 people, plus people that help serving. It's just an amazing machine to watch, and they pump this out every week. It's amazing.
It's fantastic. And I just want to read a couple of facts and figures here. So in the last fiscal year, you had over 90 volunteers who clocked 7,400 hours. So at a rate of $12 an hour, that was over $90,000 in savings to the town.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible.
It's amazing, and literally we couldn't do it without them. We can't function. That's how important volunteers are.
And knowing the importance of volunteers, what are the needs right now?
So the Meals on Wheels drivers and the medical drivers. So what we're seeing is in transportation, as you know, Josh, is very important to everyone, the seniors especially, because they're getting to the stage where they may not be able to drive themselves, or they may not have a family member that can help in that instance. More medical appointments for people. We are doing more and more van trips that way for doctors. We need the help in the volunteer part of it for those medical trips out of town, out of our van area. So if someone has a trip to Hingham or a doctor's appointment in Pembroke, we need volunteers to help bring people there. The Meals on Wheels is extremely important. Sometimes that's the only visit a person gets, is that meal that's brought to the house. And we have wonderful volunteers at this time, but we're always, we need 2 a day. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can be challenging. We deliver in the vicinity of 45 to 55 meals every day. And that's so important. So I encourage people that if they enjoy driving, if they enjoy to just talk with people, and it could be the most important visit for somebody. And so Meals on Wheels and medical drivers.
And if somebody's watching at home and they say, okay, well, I've got a car, I've got a license, I've got the free time, what can they do, or how do they get in touch with you to
Yes. Just call the center and we will set you up where all the staff knows what to do where that's concerned, and we will hook you up with the proper paperwork and how to just set you going. Within the week you can start.
That's great. And we'll make sure that we have the number visible so anybody watching at home can give you a ring.
Yes.
I just want to talk a little bit about what barriers or perceived barriers might be in place. So if there's a resident in Kingston who would qualify to use services at the COA, what sort of barriers do you see keeping folks from taking advantage of the programs?
So that's always an interesting conversation, because we're always trying to figure out our numbers and our statistics of who we are appealing to, and I try to break it down into decades, because each decade requires different needs. We find that the 60 to 70, they're very busy and they're working, so they need more of that phone, answers. We do a lot of that for those people. We're hoping when they have spare time, they'll want to come to the center and enjoy the exercise classes. But for now, a lot of them are still working. Mm-hmm. Or caring for their elderly parents. So they will make that phone call and that connection, and then we jump into, okay, how can we get your elderly parent here to the center, whether it's us transporting them in, or if they can get themselves in there as well. Other barriers are just the stigma itself on what a senior center is. And, you know, we're kind of set off the beaten path, so we're not visible by the street. So we are really trying to get out there to educate that we are a very busy center. Some towns have started changing the name. I know in Plymouth they're talking it as the Center for Active Living. That is really what all senior centers are, whether they're called a senior center or a council on aging or Center for Active Living. We are active, and we provide anything from the exercise to the health insurance questions, to tax preparation, to card games, to social, to food. It's such a big umbrella.
Yeah. The Lunch and Learn series sounded really interesting.
Yeah, that is turning out really fun, because it is. We have a home cooked meal at a low cost, and then on the tail end of it, while you're enjoying dessert, you're then becoming educated on the latest topics, whether it's, as I said, the vernal pools, or how to, we bring in certain things. We had something from the RMV came down, and they talked about, are you considering giving up your license? And here are some alternative transportations that we offer. So, so we try to, we bring subject matters in that are important in the community, and what we hear, what we gather, questions from the people that attend that they ask about. So we'll find a presenter to come in, and we'll talk about the topic.
That's great. So at the end of the day, what are the goals of the COA? What are your goals as a director? What do you hope that COA users get out of their time in the center, their experience with staff and volunteers?
Yeah, honestly, I want people to come in and enjoy, be happy, gain some knowledge. I think it's still really important to learn something new every day. There is something going on at that center every day. You'll look at our calendar, and there will be something that I think will appeal to everyone. The goal is really to get out there and I just found out, I try to keep up with the clerk's office on the latest stats. We have 3,507 residents in town that are 60 or better. And I say or better because it isn't or older, it's or better. I'm trying to change that wording. So, we have our statistics are over 1,000 that come in and enjoy. 25% are out of town. We still have a lot to do with our marketing and education, and telling the public we're here, we can help you.
And just while we're talking about marketing, I mean, this is really a well done monthly magazine that you guys put out, and I know a lot of time goes into this, but it's just a great opportunity to learn about what's going on at the COA. Where are these available?
So that is something that is another thing that we worked on with having the new media and marketing person on board. It used to be a 8-page paper copy, and we now have a 12-page glossy print. That's why I'm calling it more of a magazine than a newsletter, because it's really nice to just open up and read and look. We mail them out to people that don't get to the center as often. We have them located in the center as well. We are online. You can just search for Kingston Council on Aging newsletter, and if you plug those words in, it'll immediately take you to the link that you can open it up. So it's online. You can ask to have it mailed or come in and pick it up. We also put it out in town to different locations and businesses, because we do have advertisers in there that are promoting, and we're helping to promote their services in town. So we are in the different lobbies of some of the businesses in town. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And just one last thing too. I know that there's an exciting internship program going on with Bridgewater State University. I know you're an alum of Bridgewater. I'm an alum of Bridgewater.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So I'd just love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yes, this is exciting because Kingston hasn't done this before, so we're in the process of developing the internship. The COA started out with the English department. So I have a wonderful senior who actually works at the Bridgewater State University, Janine Booten, and she is helping me to start this internship. So we started with the English department, and it's the Living Legacy program is what we've developed, and it is a collection of stories from residents, or actually participants at the senior center, who have stories to tell about their time in Kingston or surrounding town, whether they grew up in Kingston or they moved to Kingston. They can share a story or two. We're going to compile all of that into a book and have that hopefully by our 10-year anniversary in February 2021. But that being said, other departments are interested in working with BSU as well. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be reaching out and working with more students, which is great because part of my internship was done through BSU with the town of Halifax. And that's kind of how I ended up getting into town, helping out the populations in towns through BSU, so this is great.
Similar experience. My senior thesis was an internship, which landed me a job in Roxbury. So
no kidding.
yeah,
okay.
in public housing. So
no
it's
kidding.
Bridgewater's always had a great internship program, and it's great to see Kingston take advantage of that. I know Senator DiMacedo is now working there as well, and is focusing on those campus and community relationships.
That's right.
So
it's kind of ironic that that's all.
It'll be nice to get him involved if he isn't already.
Yes, that's part of the process. So I think you'll be hearing more and more about the internship as we move forward. But as the pilot program, maybe the COA can be considered the pilot, where it's already a success for us. So
that's fantastic. And we've already discussed the value of volunteers. So if we can get some college students over here,
absolutely,
we'll take them.
Absolutely. Oh, and we are partnering with the Allied Health Department over at the Silver Lake Regional High School. They're just 2 years into their new allied health program, and they are coming over with students now, and they're going to be working with the seniors and educating them on some latest tips for health, and they're coming out of there being CNAs, and there's another certifications in dementia, and so the Silver Lake is becoming very interested in working with us, so that's fantastic too. So that's kind of new and starting. So
great. Well, Paula, thank you for joining us today. I hope that folks at home learned a thing or two about your work at the COA, the programs at the COA, and I look forward to having you back on again.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too as well, and I hope that people that watch your show do reach out, because we'd like to see them come to the center.
Great.
So thank you.